Hey everybody, so you probably clicked on this video because you want to learn how to enhance your productivity, because I've been getting an unreasonable amount of questions about how do I make more money, how do I become more productive, and in this video I want to show you exactly what I use to stay on track every single day. So let's dive right in. So what's up everybody, Henry here, and we're talking specifically about the metrics, the tracking, all the data, how to do it, and exactly what I do on a daily basis to make sure I earn anywhere between $100,000 to $200,000 a month in the real estate business. So years ago, I joined a coaching company that I had done an unbelievable amount of work with, very reputable company, and they had a different version of what I'm about to show you, and I basically made 1,000 tweaks of it and made it my own because there was a lot of things that were on there that I never really did, and this was sort of like exactly what worked for me. So in this video, the very first thing we're going to talk about is calls. Every single day, logging your calls. And the productivity log, or you see down below, again, it is downloadable. This is exactly what I use. You can download the PDF. It's all yours for free. Download it, use it. It's a weekly tracker. You can download, basically what then I do is that I take all that information every single week and I upload it into an Excel spreadsheet. And then basically what I'll do is that on a monthly or so basis, I'll review the data, kind of see how I'm trending. This way I know if I'm on track or off track of my goals pretty quickly. Let's talk about the first section. So on the very first section of this productivity tracker, it talks about how many calls or conversations you're having on a daily basis. There's a massive difference between dialing 70, 80, 100 times or 10 times and having 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 conversations a day. So in the first section, yes, you'd probably only want to be logging the conversations that you're having. And again, I would write as small as you need to, every single person, yes, on that productivity tracker, and then you basically can circle a number towards the top or on top of all the names, because the names don't really matter so much. But you're going to want to track the amount of number, like the number of people that you're speaking to on a daily basis. And you're going to see on the side that it says basically every single day, somewhere between 10 and 50. So let me explain. Ideally, if you have not made $100,000 or more, and I'd even like to even err on the side of $250,000 or more as a real estate agent, I would be focusing on 50 conversations a day. Even to this day, I have somewhere between 15 and 30 conversations a day. And I'm going to explain exactly who I'm calling, when I'm calling, and everything in just a moment. But again, I want to urge you to understand that if you are not making $250,000 or more a year as a real estate agent, you need to be erring on the side of 50 conversations or more every day so that you can build the pipeline. Because if your pipeline's not big enough, you're not going to be closing the amount of deals that you want. And that happens with a lot of brand new agents. You're not going to come into this business with a massive pipeline. It's okay. We all started there. Me too, right? We all were there one time. That being said, which is why I err on the side of making so many conversations every single day so that you can kind of get there faster. Now again, listen, if you're content making 50 grand a year, have 5 to 10 conversations a day, you'll be just fine. If you want to make 100, 250 or so every single year in the real estate business, you definitely need to be erring on the side of 50 conversations a day. Now let's dive into who to call. A part of it, you'll see on the left-hand side, you can call a plethora of different types of individuals or different types of calls. So one of them is cold calling, which again, you're talking about expireds, canceled, for sale by owners, withdrawn listings, circle prospecting, you name it, for sale by owners, any type of lead like that is going to be considered a cold call. Now, again, I've said this possibly in other videos, please understand that your conversion rate on a cold call is going to be very different from conversation to appointment or conversation to contract more specifically than it would be a referral or a conversation with a past client who typically refers you or a professional partner, which we're going to talk about in a second. So just understand the people that you speak to are going to dictate a different result. So the value that I actually give when it comes to productivity as a whole of your calling every single day, if you want to be the most productive, you should be calling people like your past clients, your current clients, your sphere of influence and database, aka your contact book on your phone, or your professional partners, people who know you, like you, trust you, refer you a lot of business, and want to continue to do so. That being said, again, to be most productive, if you could have 50 conversations a day, I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, but just in that category, not cold calls, you're going to see a massive difference in your income. However, again, most realtors are going to most likely going to be in the cold calling specific space to begin with. It's not going to be so much of a referral-based business like I have today. So this is why I stress so importantly that if you want to make a lot of money very quickly, you need to work on building and networking, which is another part of this in a second here, building that network of people who will refer you business in the future. Because if you're just focused on cold calling, you're going to cold call for the rest of your life, and that is not the intention. Because making $100,000 a year, call it, consistently off of cold calls is going to take a lot of energy and time. Making $100,000 a year off of a referral-based business, you can work 5 to 10 hours a week. This is why I stress to you, depending on how productive you are with the calls, the type of calls is going to lead to a different level of income. So if you're wondering what to say to any one of these types of calls, whether that's a warm call, if you're talking about professional partners, your past clients, current clients, sphere of influence database, or cold calling, circle prospecting, expireds, withdrawals, first sale by owners, all that. If you want to know what to say, you can also download my script book, which will be down below as well. So again, download that. You'll know exactly what to say and a lot of the objection handlers as well. So make sure you download that. So let's talk into the next section. So the next section you're going to see here is networking events. If you're in my coaching program, if you've heard my videos before, you know a ton of my content is about networking and about your relationships. Because what I've learned in my life is that you're really on average about 1 or 2 fantastic relationships away from nearly doubling or tripling your income. Very few people in my life have correlated to millions upon millions of dollars in commissions and in, really just call it in income for me over the last few years. And again, I didn't know those people before. It was like a newer relationship coming into this real estate, business. I was 20 years old when I got my license. I didn't come into this business with those relationships. I had to go out and then network, aka networking events, right? Like what we're talking about right now. That's why I stress this about going to networking events frequently, building a network of people, building relationships with people so you have more people to speak to during your call sessions. So let's talk about networking events. This can be very, very, very simple. As simple as going to Google and typing in networking events near me or meetup.com and checking out what's in your local area. I'm being serious. This is how I started my career. I would just go to as many networking events as I possibly could at night, because that's when most of them were, or very early in the morning, and I would just spend a ton of my extra hours in the day, which is again really late at night when I can't make calls, or really early in the morning when I can't make calls. I would do all that I could possibly every day to go out and meet new people. Every single person was not a home run person by any means. Majority of the people that I actually met were like friends of friends of friends, right? Where, we'd go out to dinner with somebody, they would introduce me to somebody, vice versa, and then they would introduce me to somebody and end up being a wonderful connection at some point, right? Like these are things that took a long time to create and find these people. However, if it wasn't for the focus, the initiative in general, the mission of going out and meeting new people, the intention of going out and meeting new people each and every single week, that result would have never happened. I would have never met the people that I have in my life today. So you need to have the intention, like I have on this productivity log. If you don't have the intention to go out and meeting people every single day, and again, I have on here, 1 to 2 a week. And again, if you're not where you want to be, $100,000 to $250,000 a year in income, at least you should be erring on the side of 2 or more in this category, right? Be an overachiever for 90 days, 6 months, 12 months. Put in the work, because the faster you do that, I'll give you an example. If on average, you're working 100 hours a week and your competition's working 40 hours a week, you're working 2.5 years for every year they work. So again, in 2 years, you're working 5, they're working 2. And then you understand my point. So you're going to be gradually getting ahead faster and faster and faster the more effort you put in. This is why, for 3 years straight, I worked 100-hour work weeks specifically. Again, for you need to see what you truly want. I wanted to be a multimillionaire, and I only knew one way how to do that, which was working 100-hour work weeks. So I dedicated all of my life, all of my time into making calls, networking, building relationships, being in this business, consuming information just like you're doing right now, and it will take that period of time. However, to build a 7-figure business in 3 years isn't half bad. However, in society today, we're noticing that everybody on planet Earth thinks that you can be, or you have to be, a millionaire in split seconds, in a week, in a month. That's just not reality. But building a 7-figure sustainable business over a 2, 3, 4, 5 year period of time is incredible. And that's what this is about. So on the networking events, just have the intention of going and getting the metric you should have for yourself is get 3 business cards, get 3 people's contact information, and then you can leave. My favorite thing to do when I went to a networking event was that I literally would go out with, I had a friend that I would always go with, and we had basically a bet. Who can go out and meet the 3 people the quickest, build as much of a relationship as possible, get their contact information and not just a business card, by the way, right? You want to text them, make sure you have their cell phone number, like all the correct information, because sometimes people on their business card, they just have an email or a website or something. But get their information, send them a text, and then schedule a time to meet with them for a coffee or a lunch in the future. Now, again, I want you to know, this is not just every single person you possibly can shake hands with. I'm saying go to the event and try to find the best 2 or 3 people in that networking event. The most successful, the people who have the biggest companies, the most wealth, the most money, like the most well-connected people in those rooms. Find that person, get their contact information, and try to schedule a meeting with them to have coffee or lunch or even dinner, whatever it is, in the next week or 2. Every single time. And by the way, here's the best part. I would go with my intention to do that within 15 minutes. Because I don't need to spend 3 hours talking to somebody, okay? And I'm not really a big drinker, so like a lot of people would just go there to drink at the networking event, right? If it was just like a social thing. So I'm not really a big drinker, so I'd go, get their contact information, build a little bit of rapport, and again, I know you're crazy busy, there's a lot of people to meet here, but pleasure meeting you, and try to schedule a coffee meeting or a lunch, and then that's it. And we'd schedule that, and then I'd shoot them a text with that, and they'd confirm it right then and there, and guess what? Then I'd call them next week and confirm the lunch. That was it. And then I'd leave. So I would be super, ultra productive and efficient at the networking events. So for you, don't spend all 2 hours there. I like to get there fairly early, so like within around the time that it starts, or give or take 5 to 15 minutes. And then I leave within 15 to 30 minutes max. I don't want to waste a lot of time there. So again, put in the calendar, you want to have 1 or 2 networking events every single week, and at every single networking event that you go to, you want to play the game as fast as you possibly can, try to book 2 to 3 meetings and get the contact information as fast as possible so you can get out there and go make more phone calls, truthfully. The next section on the productivity tracker here is meetings, and not just any type of meetings. This specifically is the following. Number 1, listing consultations. Number 2, a buyer showing. Number 3, getting lunch, coffee, dinner, something with somebody of value to you. And the last thing can also be a recruiting meeting. So if you're, again, if you're making $200,000-$300,000 a year at this point, that can also, anything, like these are highly productive meetings. This is not just a meeting to, just kind of BS and, talk with another realtor in your office and at a lunch table. No, highly productive meetings that will make you money. Listing consultations, showings with a buyer, meeting with someone that of value, right? Again, to either work with them as a client or professional partner to get referrals back and forth, or someone you're going to look to recruit. Those are the 4 most productive meetings that you can possibly have. And if you look at the tracker, I am saying having 2 to 4 of them a day. 2 to 4 of them a day. What does that mean if you do not have 2 to 4 of them booked today? What does that mean? I hope you said you need to find a way to book them today. Right? Or be on the phones, because those are the only 2 things that are actually truly valuable to you. If you do not have something booked, you're going to stay on the phones, and then I would continuously then try to book something for today. If you're trying to set up a listing appointment, you should be trying to set that for today or tomorrow. Within 24 hours is the best time to have the highest conversion, especially if they're motivated. Because what I've often seen is someone goes, well, they're on the call with somebody and it's like a kind of sort of maybe conversation. We're like,
yeah, would you be kind of open to me maybe kind of sort of coming to your house to talk to you maybe about listing the home for sale possibly with me?
I mean, that's what some of these people sound like on the phone, right? They said and then they're like, yeah, sure. We could try to figure something out. Okay, great. Are you available next week? Why would you say that? Well, I'm going to be in the area later on today, or does tomorrow work better for you? That simple close, that urgency is what people need to hear. If they're ready to go and they're most likely home, because a lot of people are working from home these days, you should just set the appointment for today, especially if you don't have an appointment today. Guys, you don't have to schedule it for next week. This is what I'm talking about urgency and being productive and efficient with your time. All right, guys, the next section on the productivity tracker is recording videos for social media. Social media has totally, I wouldn't just say blown up over the last few years, but it has become almost a necessity in the professional world to get your brand awareness out into the world. And a lot of people, what I see them doing, I'm sure you see this and you might even be that kind of person who's doing it, and we're gonna talk about it in a second, but the agents who are posting on social media a picture of your new listing or your new pending or your closed listing, what are you doing to build value, bring value to your audience when you post that? Is there any type of value that you're providing? No, it's a gloating ego thing. If you look at any of my content, I don't even know the last time I posted about a new listing, a pending, or a closed sale. When I was doing that, it was an assistant of mine who just needed extra content to throw in there. And I even told her I want her to stop doing that. The point I'm trying to make here is that posting on social media should be about bringing value to your audience, similar to what I'm doing right now. This is all free content for you to consume. This is bringing value to my audience. This is about brand awareness, building your name, where like, again, I go out a lot of places and people know who I am. You know, a lot of the places that I continuously go to in the state of New Jersey is because they know who I am. Especially in the real estate world in the state of New Jersey, a lot of people know who I am. So when I call somebody to make an offer or work with them, they know that they're getting somebody who's reputable and knows how to close a deal, because that's all they care about is getting a deal closed. That is what this is all about, brand awareness. All right, next section is all about open houses. This is specifically for newer realtors. For a quick moment, so quick side note, if you're a newer realtor, listen to me right now. So if you're a new real estate agent, you should be doing somewhere between 2 and 4 open houses every single week. Number one, it helps you build a pipeline that much faster. Number two, it allows you to build the confidence around having real estate conversations. And number three, it also allows you to build the confidence around the skill sets of showing a home, which again, if you don't do it, you don't get the experience. You can't just keep talking about how to ride a bike. You got to do it a couple times. So doing open houses will accelerate your ability to, your ability around showing homes, skill sets around communication, around talking about selling property, as well as it will help you build a pipeline. Now, if you're an agent already doing, call it somewhere around 100 to 250 every single year, I would recommend still doing open houses in all your listings. However, what I typically do is that I have group chats of 1,000 agents in the state of New Jersey minimum, or a couple different group chats with a couple thousand agents. And what I'll do is that I'll post in all these group chats saying, hey, new listing is going up. Who wants to do an open house on my listing? So it brings my seller a lot of value, and an agent, a newer agent, possibly like yourself, can host an open house on my listings. It doesn't cost you anything. You just kind of show up that day and everything's handled for you. So it's a win-win situation. I don't need the extra leads. We have plenty of leads that we're working with. But if you're a newer agent and you're looking for leads, open houses are a really, really impactful, simple, free way for you to generate leads and build confidence and value in your business. So again, if you're a newer agent, I recommend 2 to 4 open houses every single weekend. So that could be as simple as something at I think the times that I used to do it was 11 and 2 or 2:30. And it was 2 2-hour open houses. So 11 to 1 and then 2 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. So again, I did this several weekends, and I would recommend, and I had my agents doing it on other listings that we had every single weekend. Sometimes we even doubled up because we didn't have, tons and tons of listings. But, when we had like a dozen listings, we would have plenty of people all over the place, and we would do 2 or 4 listings every single weekend. It's a really easy, simple, again, free way for you to generate leads and build confidence in your real estate business. All right, next section is all about setting appointments. How many appointments are you setting? Now, you're going to see here that it says somewhere between 14 and 28 appointments. That's because I said 4 appointments a day that you're going to conduct. Now, again, this is not just listing appointments. However, quick side note, again, listing appointments and those coffee meetings are truly going to be the most valuable to your long-term business. Yes, listing appointments are going to be number one. Okay, that is always going to be number one, especially if you're a newer agent. You're going to want to pay attention to the fact that you need to be scheduling, especially if you're making your 50 conversations a day, like we talked about at the very beginning. If you're having 50 conversations a day, that should lead to somewhere between 2 to 5 leads a day. Okay, by the way, that's not immediate. Doesn't mean immediate business. It means down the road, building a pipeline, right? Long-term business, somewhere between 90 days and 2 years down the road, especially if you're doing a lot of cold calls. That is what you're building every single day from those 50 conversations. So of the 2 to 5 leads that you're generating every day, and from the conversations you're having every day, you should be easily able to set up maybe 1 or 2 coffee meetings a day. You can, and by the way, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is the intention of a very successful real estate agent. This works for agents going all the way up to $1 million a year or more. The only thing that slightly changes is, on average, what I do with my time every single day. Because we're both making phone calls. I'm just calling a slightly different group of people. And I'm probably calling a little bit less than most of you are, and I'm calling just a little bit higher level of an individual. That's really it as time goes on. I'm still going on some, on plenty of appointments. I'm still meeting with people face to face. Like, I'm doing a lot of the same stuff. I don't do the open houses anymore, but you get my drift here, right? We're still doing the same stuff, okay? Because this business is very simple. It hasn't really changed over decades of time, so you're just replicating what works. All right, the next section down below is handwritten cards. Now, I had never, ever written a handwritten card before I had joined the coaching program I was a part of a few years ago. It got me into it, and I definitely believe in it. And it's something that it's incredibly valuable. But again, this is something that I would urge you to be doing, especially for for beginning agents. It's a really big differentiator between an agent who sends out handwritten cards, especially to your hottest leads and professional partners who you want to work with. Most people don't get a handwritten letter. Think about it. When's the last time you got a handwritten letter from somebody? And when you got one, what'd you do? You're probably like, oh, wow, this is pretty awesome. I appreciate this, right? It's something that you probably called them and say, hey, thank you so much, right? However, think about it. Most people don't get those because it's an old school thing. So bring back that old school type of mentality. People appreciate it. So take the time out of your day, your hottest leads of the day, and just write out a handwritten card. Guys, the stamp is like 50 some odd cents. You can literally go to Michael's and buy 100 cards for like $6. You can buy 100 stamps is going to be like 50 some odd bucks, plus the $6 or $7 or $8 or $10 for the card, and you can send out 50 to 100 cards, no problem. Don't make it complicated, and that'll last you an entire, it should really last you per month, right? 50 to 100 cards. That is how many cards I'm talking about. People will appreciate it, and you're going to really be the only person ever doing it. Every day, your best 2 conversations, your best 2 leads, the best 2 appointments that you've conducted, those are going to be the people that you send out those handwritten cards to. And on your handwritten cards, you want to say something along the lines of this is typically how my card goes. So be like, hey, John, it's Henry with EXP Realty. I just wanted to say how much I appreciated the conversation today and so looking forward to catching up in the future. Have a wonderful day and talk soon. That's it, guys. Like, don't complicate this. All right, that's for somebody you had a conversation with over the phone, possibly a cold call. And then again, if it was a warmer relationship or anything like that, you can just be like, hey, John, I just wanted to say it was awesome catching up with you. I hope to hopefully meet you in person. Let me know when you're available. Definitely would love to do this again sometime. Talk to you soon. That's really it, guys. Like, don't overcomplicate it. Just the thought is what really counts. That's not really about what you write in it. And yeah, you can throw your business card in there, but again, if you know them, I wouldn't just throw your business card in there. But if it's a cold lead, 100% of the time, you want to put your business card. And again, listen, if it's an appointment, hypothetically, you just met this person for the very first time, or if it was a listing consultation and they're like, listen, I got to think about it, and they really push really hard about thinking about it, which, by the way, you can, listen, handling objections, which, again, you can check out some of my other videos. I handle these objections all the time. So, again, if there's any questions around objection handling that you have, put them in the comment section down below. I'll make sure I record a video. Promise you. If, hypothetically, you just went on a listing appointment, you're sitting in the car right now, kind of bummed because you didn't get the listing, write a handwritten card, throw it in the mailbox. Hey, John, Sally, whoever, it was a wonderful meeting with you, and I appreciate the opportunity to meet with you tonight. I just wanted to say thank you again for it, and again, looking forward to following up with you in the future and hopefully being the one to support you in your home sale this year. Really simple. Put your business card, and that's it. Guys, like, that small little touch goes so far. Next thing on the list is leads generated. So again, we talked on this for a quick second earlier in the video. When you're having all these conversations, each and every single day, you're going to be generating lots and lots of leads, or at least I hope so. So when you're generating leads, you want to log every single lead. Again, you want to put them into a CRM system. Other than that, though, again, you want to log the leads that you have, not only in your CRM, but again, you're going to want to tally them every single day. In a lead, let me characterize what a lead is. If they're looking to sell or buy a piece of real estate, and I want to be really specific with you for a second, I'd like to try to tell you something with, like, a lead I wouldn't try to characterize a lead outside 90 days to 6 months. Now, here's the thing, before you say anything, a lead is somebody who's looking to do something, period, okay? I don't care if it's 10 years in the future, okay? Technically a lead, I'm not disagreeing. What I am saying is that stop thinking that you generated 10 leads today because you spoke to 17 people and 10 of them said, yeah, I might consider hearing an offer, if it's $1 million over my asking price, or $1 million or more than it's what it's worth, or in 5 years when my kids are out of high school. Like, guys, value this a little bit more wisely, because I've seen this too often where people say, well, I've generated 78 leads this month and I haven't closed a single deal. Okay, what are you characterizing as a lead? So what we characterize as a lead on my team is when we talk about somebody who's looking to buy, sell real estate, okay? I typically don't like to even value renters. Like, yes, they are a lead, but we don't really count it. And we've even said over even the last 6 months that buyer leads don't even count. We do write them down, but they're not counted for leads generated. So again, we say someone who's looking to sell a piece of property in the next 90 days to 6 months, and with a very heavy motivation. That is a lead. So this is why I try to say to people when I'll take on a coaching client, and they'll say, well, and I'll ask them, how many leads have you generated this month? And I'll say, again, 50. And again, we'll go through them, and a lot of them are not really leads. This is why I'd rather say, well, we only generate 20, but they're really, really, really good leads. That's what's going to drive dollars into your bank account, which is what we all care about most, right? Very specific with what you count as a lead. And again, you need their full information. So if hypothetically you just have their home address and a name, that's not a lead, guys. You need their phone number, ideally cell phone. You need to have their address, of course. You want to know exactly what they're looking to do in the future. And again, even their email address. Like I would try to get the whole entire package: name, address, phone number, email, and motivation as to what they're looking to do, when they're looking to do it, all the type of information, and that's when you put into a CRM. That's a great lead, especially if they're looking to do something in the next 90 days. Boom, that's a fire lead. However, again, if they're outside of that metric of 6 months, maybe they're a year out, maybe they're 3 years out, yes, of course, you want to get all their contact information, the same exact stuff. However, stop counting that as a valuable lead. Because I want you to continue calling and realize that, like, just count it as one less lead you got today. Yes, it goes in the system. Yes, you can count it overall. However, it's not going to bring you value immediately, which is why I'm saying you need to continue making calls. And last but not least, my personal favorite, contracts. That means you're making money, baby. So what we're talking about here is either a not a buyer agreement sign, not just someone who said, yeah, I'll work with you if you can help me find a home. No. I'm saying an accepted offer from a buyer or a listing contract signed. And honestly, I'm gonna be kind of blunt here. The most important one is obviously an accepted offer, period. So again, even just getting a listing contract signed, you should be logging it, and that is important, and I want you to put that in there. I just want you to know that, like, yes, getting a buyer agreement signed or a listing agreement signed is then the opportunity for income to come in. And obviously in this market, a lot of homes are selling pretty quickly. However, again, with the incoming or the inbound of the recession that's coming out here, might be a little bit difficult coming out. So, or coming into the future here. So just be cognizant that more than anything, the most valuable contract that we can possibly have here is an accepted offer. Okay. So write down every listing contract that you get signed and accepted offer that you get. This is where the money is at, baby. Again, if you have not downloaded the PDF that we've been talking about this entire time, it is down below, and I promise it will help you enhance your business. You're going to track everything on a daily basis, fill it out completely on a weekly basis, total all the numbers, and put it into an Excel spreadsheet. You don't have to make it super pretty, guys. The point is, once it's in a spreadsheet, you're then going to track it, or you're going to pay attention to it very, very closely. And I would recommend looking at this almost daily so you can see if you're going up or down every single month, right? Every single week. That's the point of tracking it. You want to know if you're doing better than last week or worse than last week. And then what happens is on a monthly basis, you're going to total all the numbers. So you can put sum on Excel, sum equals, parentheses, and then the total. Make sure you guys can probably find out another YouTube video on how to track that. So once you know the totals, and then all you're going to try to do is beat your last month's numbers. Beat last month's numbers, and you're going to build a competition against yourself and your own ability. I guarantee you, whatever numbers you did last month, I even urge you to try to double it. That is the vision, guys, for the next 6 or 12 months, 18, 24 months, especially if you're a newer realtor. You want to be like crazy adamant about your numbers, crazy focus on your numbers, about smashing them every week, every month. Try to double your numbers. Because I'm telling you, once you've done this like hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of times, this process in tracking, guys, you're going to set yourself up for an incredibly successful career. Because a multitude of agents are not tracking their numbers. If they just did that one little shift of tracking their data, they would double their income. All right, guys, that's about it for me. I hope you appreciate this video. If you have any questions or anything like that, put them in the comment section down below. I want to make sure I help and support you in the future. Love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video.